Another huge segment that I would add towards the end would be I would have them first read a story on, it's called The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olada Ikiano. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Basically, he's an 11-year-old boy and the son of an African tribal leader who was kidnapped in 1755 from his home in Africa, which is now known as the area of Nigeria. Um, and he was basically one of the many million people that were sold into slavery during that time. So basically, I'd want them to read that story because it's his own autobiography. So it's from his point of view. I feel like it's important that they get point of view from someone that actually went through it, not someone that's just teaching it. So then, along with that, I'm also gonna have them do their own research. They can pick any famous African American contributor, actor, whatever it be, and write about their how they influenced America through their African culture. And because I feel like when we learn about slavery in school, whether it be middle school, high school, college, we learn about African Americans and blacks. It's always something negative. We don't really hear much about positive. So I feel like this activity, they'll be able to, correlate that. Um, and then another section, this would be a little more advanced, but I feel like a lot of students will take heed to it. Um, I want to incorporate language because, there were many different languages back even when slavery was existent. So I would want them to know about the different languages, how they influence America today. So my student, I would basically just ask the class what languages do they hear on a daily basis, what different languages exist in their families, what they want to learn. So,
Well, the languages that I hear on a regular basis is more English and Spanish. Um, and mostly it's broken Spanish, meaning like, it's not proper. And in my home, we mainly speak, English. Like, I do have Spanish siblings, so I do have Puerto Rican brother and sisters, and their mother, speaks Spanish and stuff to them. So sometimes it's, um, inverted into my life a little bit, but
hmm
that's really mainly it.
and I definitely feel like that. So with students, I would tell my students, although you might hear it because you're in a neighborhood, you have to realize that it's all over the world and it's important. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how important it is to try to learn a different language. It can have such a great influence on the world, communication. So I would want them to learn, something, whether it's a little bit of French, a little bit of Spanish. Um, and I feel like at, the level that they are right now, eighth grade is a good time for them to try to learn it, even though, it's better when you're younger. But I would definitely incorporate that into it. And then I would also just bring up a lot of different photos. I was having a conversation with one of my classmates the other day, and we were talking about like different perceptions and just like the different clothings that have derived from Africa today. So I would definitely have a lot of photos relating to images of today that they can relate to, clothing that they've seen might have been wore, like the dashiki. It's a big thing now. Everyone wears them, but a lot of people don't realize that Africans take pride in that type of clothing, that it's not just something that you're supposed to just wear. Um, a lot of patterns also I would explain to them in the clothing have come from African culture. It's not something that just came, that we invented. So I would definitely talk about that. And then my last section also too, um, the when we were talking about perceptions, people perceive Africans in a certain light based off certain movies. So I really stress to them that there's more than just the movies, that how they perceive Africans. Like coming to America is a really big one. I was speaking to an African on campus the other day, and he spoke about how that movie displays Africans in a way that he doesn't like. He feels like there's more, to that. So definitely, as a lesson as a whole, I'm gonna give them a lot of information on the slave trade, um, the different routes, where the people were taken from, where they disembarked, um, why they were, you know, kidnapped, what benefits came from it, how it has affected, you know, society today. And feel like through the different activities, they'll be able to have fun while they're learning it, and I feel like it'll stick with them, you know, and something that they can't forget. And that's about it. Thank you.